one industry that a lot of analysts here have been talking about is the paper industry, and saying that things seem to have bottomed out as far as the paper industry is concerned. To get further perspective on this, the management at JK Paper is now joining us. CFO at JK Paper is now joining us live from Delhi. Sir, if you could just tell us about the paper industry and what's happening. Are we seeing paper industry at a cusp of growth? That's what some of the sell side analysts believe.
Good to be on your show, and I don't exactly understand the word bottoming out unless you're talking about purely from the point of view of profitability. We look more for a balance between the demand and supply, where there is no shortage of supplies, and so the producers have run a play as far as pricing power is concerned. Nor is that very low capacity utilization levels of 60 and 70, so you are at the customer's mercy. A proper demand supply balance is what we are looking for, and that should be the case when the capacity utilizations is between about 90-95% or something, so that when any customer wants additional quantities, it's available. So there is no balance of pricing power doesn't lie with the industry, nor does the customer have the pricing power. I guess that's the kind of state the industry is in, between 92-95% of capacity utilizations. And if you look at the past about 3 years history, before let's say January 2016 or something, for almost about 10 to 12 quarters, there was a quarter-on-quarter price reductions on the output prices, whereas there was some continuous inflation on the raw material prices. Both have stabilized now, and the raw material prices, good supplies have started coming in. And the output prices since let's say March, April or something, there is some amount of price uptakes, which is trying to catch up with the prices which were lost in the previous 10 quarters or so. So I would think if purely from the profitability angle, we are seeing better numbers being reported by the industry, and as we see going forward in the next 3-4 quarters also, we do see such good trends.
That is majorly because of pulp prices coming down and prices of rather selling price remaining largely averaged.
Well, pulp prices have come down worldwide because of the steep currency depreciations in Brazil and Indonesia. But as you know, India imports only about 1 million tons worth of million tons of pulp. We are largely integrated players, and out of this million also, lots of it will be BCTMP pulp, which cannot be manufactured, which is not manufactured in India. So it is more due to domestic factors, as well as the most of the mills which have gone for modernization of being able to achieve very significant cost reductions, as well as internal usage efficiencies. So that has been the main factor, in fact.
As far as demand is concerned, the paper industry has been growing by about 6-7% or 5 to 7% on an average. Does that rate continue in terms of demand growth?
Yes. Well, the different segments are growing at different rates. I would say the copier is growing at around 6 to 7%. Maplitho, which is the grade which is used for books and diaries and other office uses, that's growing a little ahead of that, and coated paper maybe about 7 to 8%. But the high-end packaging board is almost 12 to 15% growth, and low-end packaging board about 9% growth. But overall, inclusive newsprint, etc., the industry is growing at around 6 to 7%. That growth still continues, but what is happening is there's been no capacity addition since we came in last in September 13. So the demand has caught up with supplies, and that is what perhaps is reflecting in the encouraging results of late.
You earlier mentioned about the capacity utilization levels of the industry. Can you just tell us the capacity at JK Paper and what's the utilization levels? And say if the increase in particular category is higher, can you change and market to produce that product much more and sell?
I don't I don't think I've got the question correct. If you can come again quick.
Right. So what I was saying is that can you just tell us what is the current capacity utilization of JK paper and what is the capacity? And say if one particular category of paper is doing well, can the capacity be diverted over there for better growth?
Okay, yeah. See, we have a capacity of around 455 and we are operating at around 100%. But as I have emphasized before, capacity is a little loose definition here. Capacities can vary depending on how fast the machine runs and what GSM, that is the thickness or the grammage of paper that you manufacture. Higher the grammage, proportionately higher the production. The faster the machine runs, the higher the production. So from time to time, it is possible to vary them and up the production. But having said that, we operated at around 99% capacity utilization in the last quarter. And there is some amount of switchability between map litho and copier, provided you have the proper cutting capacities. Likewise, between grayback and the high-end packaging board in the packaging board segment. But you cannot convert, in many other segments, there is no interplay possible.
As far as most of the FMCG products are concerned, we are seeing demand for better quality packaged products. Is that something which we are seeing for paper as well? Premium products are seeing better growth?
That is, yeah, that is one of the main reasons why the high-end packaging board is seeing very good growth of 12 to 15%, plus the growth of organized retail. That is also contributing to demand for better quality packaging for basically much better merchandising reasons.
Right. So you mentioned that there's better profitability for the industry because of some stability coming in the raw material side. Now, when it comes to pulp, India is still deficient in the pulp required for the paper capacities that will be coming on board to meet the demand. So what is the industry doing? What is your company doing? Do we see increased plantations within India for your company? You're looking at more plantations abroad. How will this demand-supply gap in the raw material side work out?
See, our land policies are rather restrictive. In fact, I would reckon it's the most restrictive in the world. And if you go to Brazil or Indonesia, within a radius of around 50 to 70 kilometers, you can have all the raw materials that you want. But if you look at India, the size of land holdings is restricted to 50 acres in most of the states. So we have to depend on the private individual farmers only to grow who has land holdings of 1 and 2 acres. So if you want a benchmark, the wood is available between 50 to 80 a ton in Brazil, Indonesia, maybe slightly higher, but it is available to us at around 140 and 150 tons. But having said that, logistics is a big factor. We go to about 350 to 400 kilometers to fetch our wood for a 2 lakh ton machine, whereas for a 1.5 million ton plant, they hardly have to go beyond 70, 80 kilometers. The Indian industry has done a very good job in terms of development of better quality clones and seeds and seedlings, whereby the growth cycle of the plantation has been continuously on the decline within India. I would reckon that nowhere else this has been achieved in the world. Slowly from 7-8 years, we have cut it down to 4 years and 3 years, so that the farmer gets much better yield for his crop within a shorter time. And we are also continuously reducing the distance to procurement, thereby hoping to gain significantly on logistics costs. And the industry has had very significant results in that respect. And if you look at the last 4 quarters as something purely out of logistics and the shorter distances to procure, although the farmer is not suffering reduced prices, we have been able to reduce our prices maybe about 5 to 6% in the last 1 year, or maybe even more in certain pockets.
Right, but what I'm trying to understand is it just the efficiencies that have led to the reduction in prices? Because there is a lot of competitive intensity that the paper industry is facing because of imports, despite the 10% duty. Have you bridged the gap in the paper price produced in India versus the imports from, say, China or Indonesia at the coastal level?
Well, we enjoy a premium of around 5 to 6% in the copier paper. Coated paper is almost benchmarked in international prices, and packaging board is not really bothered about the domestic parity because of its own peculiarity. Because you order in 5, 6. Typical order is about 6 tons, 10 tons or something. Imports can't come with that kind of a small quantities. I would think that the domestic prices should, raise in line with the inflation. But having said that, import parity threat is always there. But the levels of imports are not that much. Maybe about 3 to 4% is coming in, which is not that big. But I would like to revert to your previous question regarding pulp. Pulp in the short run, new capacities have not come. It will take a little time to come. And unless the plantation growth assures enough supplies, new capacities will not come. So in the short run, if anybody wants to put up new capacities, they will depend upon imported source of pulp. And there are quite a few capacities getting established in Indonesia and Brazil, which can put about 3-4 million in the market in the near term.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking with us, Mr. Kumaraswamy, giving us more details on what's happening in the paper industry. So Mr. Kumaraswamy is saying that they are seeing good growth, especially in the packaging sector, and the trend of price declines that they had seen up to 2016 for 10 quarters on a back-to-back basis, that seems to have halted. There has been a little bit of stability coming in end paper pricing in the industry. So we will slip into a break at this point in time. When we come back, we will focus on the